Hello children, I am Dr. Minidhavan and today I have brought CBSE Class 9 Geography Chapter 3 Natural Vegetation and Wildlife Part 2. Today we are going to learn about different types of vegetation. Due to relief and climatic factors, different type of vegetation dwell in different areas. Based on major forest type, we can divide Indian vegetation into the following forest. First is tropical evergreen forest, second tropical deciduous forest, third tropical thorn forest and scrubs, fourth montane forest, and fifth mangrove forest. Now let's study them in detail. First we'll talk about tropical rainforest or tropical evergreen forest. They cover about 12% of the total forest area of India. They are found in areas where the annual rainfall is over 200 centimeter with a short dry season. So let's check the areas in India which receive more than 200 centimeter of rainfall. They are found on the western slopes of Western Ghats. Western slopes कौन सी हुई? The one facing towards the Arabian Sea. Then both group of islands, Lakshadweep and Andaman and Nicobar Islands, upper parts of Assam, and some parts of the coast of Tamil Nadu and Odisha. So in these areas we find tropical evergreen forest. If we see the characteristics of tropical evergreen forest, these areas are warm and wet almost throughout the year. They have abundant vegetation with tall trees up to 60 meters and even above. It is vegetation of all kinds, trees, shrubs, creepers, giving it a multi-layered structure. Multi-layered structure means that there are different type of plants. Scrubs are there, creepers are there, then shrubs, then trees, and trees also, they are of different heights, so it gives a multi-layered structure. These appear green throughout the year. As the trees, they shed their leaves at different times. Important trees of this forest are ebony, mahogany, rosewood, rubber, and cinchona. Common animal found in these forests are elephants, monkeys, lemur, and deers. Scorpions and snails are also found here. Next is tropical deciduous forest. Tropical deciduous forest. In most part of India, we'll be finding these forests. These cover around 64% of the forest area of the country, and they are also called monsoon forest. They are spread over the region receiving rainfall between 70 centimeter to 200 centimeter. Trees of this forest type shed their leaves for about 6 to 8 weeks in dry summer. On the basis of availability of water, these forests are further divided into moist and dry deciduous. In these forests, the common animals which are found are lion, tiger, pig, deer, and elephant. So, tropical deciduous forest again can be divided into two parts, moist and dry deciduous. So first we'll be talking about moist deciduous. See, there is the difference between the moist and the dry deciduous is just the amount of rainfall they have. The moist deciduous forest, it gets around 100 to 200 centimeter of rainfall. They cover around 34% of country's forest area. They are found mostly in eastern parts of the country, such as northeastern parts, northeastern states, West Odisha, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, foothills of Himalayas, and the leeward side of Western Ghats, the other side. Okay, so teak is the dominant species of these forests. Other than teak, bamboo, sal, shisham, sandalwood, khair, kusum, arjun, and mulberry trees are found in these forests. Now we'll read about dry deciduous. Dry deciduous forest, they are found in the areas where rainfall is 70 to 100 centimeters, and they are called as dry deciduous because of this reason only. They cover about 30% of the country's forest area. These are found in rainier parts of peninsular plateau and plains of UP and Bihar. Teak, sal, peepal, and neem trees grow in these areas. Many parts of these areas have been cleared for agricultural activities and for grazing. Besides lions, tigers, elephants, pigs, and deer, many variety of birds, lizards, snakes, and tortoise are found in these forests. Next is the thorn forest and scrubs. The natural vegetation consists of thorny trees and bushes. They cover about 5% of the total forest area of India. These are found in the areas where rainfall is less than 100 centimeter. These are found in northwestern part of the country, including semi-arid areas of Gujarat, Rajasthan, some areas of UP, Chhattisgarh, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh, as well as parts of Deccan Plateau. So, the trees found in tropical thorn forest and scrubs, they are scattered. Succulent stems and small thick leaves are also found here in desert areas with very little rainfall. Trees are scattered and have long roots penetrating deep into the soil to get moisture. The stems are moist to conserve water. Leaves are mostly thick and small to minimize evaporation. Trees like acacia, palm, Euphorbia milli, cactus, they are found in these areas. Main animals which are found here, they are fox, wolf, rat and mice, wild ass, horse, tiger, lion, and camels. So these are the major animals which are found in thorn forest and scrubs. Now scrubs, it's a plant community. Okay. Montane forest, that is next. Now these forests are found in the mountains. They roughly cover about 17% of the total forest areas of India and are found in mountainous areas of Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, and Arunachal Pradesh. Natural vegetation changes with corresponding change in the temperature and with increasing altitude in the mountainous region. Now we will discuss about altitudinal distribution of montane forest. We can divide it into 4 parts. First is wet temperate forest. Wet temperate forests, they are found at lower altitudes between 1000 to 2000 meters they are found, and evergreen broadleaf trees such as oaks and chestnuts are very prominent here. Second is temperate forest. At the altitude between 1500 to 3000 meters, temperate forest containing coniferous trees like pine, devdar, silver fir, spruce, cedar are found. These forests cover mostly the southern slopes of Himalaya. Now I'll mention here southern slopes of Himalayas which are towards the Indian side. The northern slopes of Himalayas are towards the Chinese side. Okay, so southern slopes of Himalayas which are towards the Indian side. Now next is temperate grasslands. Temperate grasslands, they are found at the altitude, on the higher elevations. At high altitude, above 3600 meters, temperate forest and grasslands, they give way to the alpine vegetation. Now what is this alpine vegetation? Alpine vegetation through shrubs and scrubs merge into alpine grasslands. These areas are extensively used by nomadic tribes like Gujars and Bakarwals for grazing. Mosses and lichens are part of tundra vegetation and are found at higher altitudes. Uh, Flora and fauna which is found here: Kashmir stag, spotted deer, wild sheep, jackrabbit, Tibetan antelope, yaks, snow leopard, squirrels, shaggy horn wild ibex, that is a wild goat, bear, and rare red panda, they are found there. Sheep and goats with thick hair are found here. Silver firs, pines, junipers, birches, etc. are common trees which are found here. Next is mangrove forest. Mangroves are trees that grow along the coast. These are rooted in salty sediments, often underwaters. These are found in coastal deltaic areas influenced by sea tides. Due to this fact, they are also called tidal forest. Mud and silt get accumulated on such coasts. The root of predominant mangroves are submerged under the water. Such forests are found in the delta of rivers which are there on the eastern coast of India. They are deltas of Ganga, Brahmaputra, Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, and due to mud and silt brought down by the rivers, this area is very good for mangroves. In Ganga Brahmaputra delta, which is the biggest delta of the world, largest delta of the world, Sundari trees, they are found there. They provide durable hard timber and are very prominent here. That is why this delta is also called Sundarban Delta. Other than trees, palm, coconut, kevda, and agar, these are found here. These trees are found here. Animals which are prominent here are Royal Bengal tigers, snakes, turtles, gharials, and crocodiles. So these were the forests of India, different types of forest of India. Now we'll talk about wildlife. What kind of wildlife India is having? India is rich in its fauna, that is animal life, as well as flora, that is plant life. I have told you earlier it has approximately 90,000 animal species and around 2,000 species of birds. It is around 13% of total world stock. There are around 2,546 species of fish, which is nearly 12% of the world stock. It also shares between 5 and 8% of world amphibians, reptiles, and mammals. The existence of animals in our country varies from place to place. At different places, we'll be finding different types of animals. If we go towards Karnataka, Assam, Kerala, we'll be finding majestic elephants. Then if we'll be going towards swamps and marshes, we'll be finding one-horned rhino, especially in Assam and West Bengal. So marshes, what are marshes? Swamps and marshes, they are water body containing rich hydric soils. Marshes are wetland frequently flooded by nearby running water bodies of water that are dominated by emergent soft stem vegetation. Then in Run of Kutch, if we go to the arid side, we'll be finding wild asses. In Thar desert, its camels will be finding. India is only country of the world that has both tigers and lions. The natural habitat of Indian lion is Gir forest in Gujarat. Tigers are found in forest of MP, Sundarban of West Bengal, and the Himalayan region. Now there are high altitudes of Ladakh which are freezing. They are home of yak, shaggy horned wild ox, which weighs around 1 ton, Tibetan antelope, the bharal. Bharal is a blue sheep, wild sheep, and kiang. Kiang is a Tibetan wild ass. So we'll be finding these animals in Ladakh. In rivers, lakes, and coastal areas, turtles, crocodiles, and gharials are found. Bird life in India is very colorful. Peacock, pheasants, and lot of birds, they inhabit the forests. Now, ducks are there, parakeets are there, cranes, pigeons, they inhabit the wetlands of the country. Leopards, they are member of the cat family and they are also found in India. Nilgai, which is called blue bull, Indian bison, Chausinga, which is the four-horned antelope, and different species of deer they are found here. And many species of monkeys are also found in India. The gir is the last remaining habitat of Asiatic loin. Wildlife Protection Act was implemented in 1972 in India, and after that, killing of preservation of certain animals was taken ahead in those Project Tiger, Project Elephant, Project Rhino, Project Great Indian Buster. So many projects were started by Indian government. Now there are a lot of migratory birds which are found in India. Some of the wetlands of India, they are popular with migratory birds. During a winter, birds such as Siberian crane, they come in large number. One such place favorable with birds is the Run of Kutch. At a place where desert merges with the sea, flamingos with a brilliant pink plumage comes in thousands to build nest mounds from the salty mud and raise their young ones here. Then we'll be talking about how human beings are responsible for disturbing the ecosystem. See, every species has an important role in ecosystem. Hence, conservation of flora and fauna is essential, and the major threat is to the nature is humans themselves. Hunting for commercial purpose, that is the main reason why humans they intrude to forest. Then pollution due to chemical and industrial waste, our forests are being degraded, it's posing a threat to flora and fauna. And again, we are rapidly cutting the forest for cultivation and habitation as our population is ever increasing. So we need more and more land for people to reside in, and for feeding them we need more and more land to go towards the agriculture area. So that is the basic reason why our land is being degraded. So basically human beings, they are responsible for imbalancing of the ecosystem. Now, steps taken by the government to protect flora and fauna. Many steps have been taken. See, 18 biosphere reserves have been set up in India to protect flora and fauna. 10 out of these have been included in the World Network of Biosphere Reserves. Financial and technical assistance has been provided to many botanical gardens by government since 1992. I've told you earlier, Project Tiger, Project Rhino, Project Great Indian Bustard, and many other eco developmental projects, they have been introduced by the Government of India. We have around 104 national parks, 553 wildlife sanctuaries, and zoological gardens. They have been set up to take care of the natural heritage which we have inherited. In your book, it must be 84 national parks and 490 wildlife sanctuaries, but I am telling you the new number, that is 104 national parks and 553 wildlife sanctuaries. So there is need to conserve these areas. There is need to conserve the environment. Our crops consist of edible plants, and many medicinal plants are also used by us. The animals, they were selected from the large stock providing it by the nature as milch animal. They also provided us drought bar, transportation, meat, eggs. Okay? And DAP is an example. DAP is drought animal power. That is an example of large scale application of technology concepts to millions of small and marginal farmers for cultivation and small scale transportation. No, fish provide nutritive food. Many insects, they help in pollination of crops and fruit trees. They also exert biological control on such insects which are harmful. Thus, it can be said that every species has a role to play in the ecosystem. So, its conservation is very essential. Due to excessive exploitation of plants and animals resources by human beings, the ecosystem has been disturbed. About 1300 plant species are endangered and 20 species are extinct. Quite a few animal species are also endangered and some have become extinct. So, for example, the great Indian bustard. In previous years, in 2005 to 2007, the number of great Indian bustard was around 332 or something like that. But now it has reduced to 230 something. So it's like all these, natural heritage which we have been given by the nature, if we will not be taking care, they are going to go away. So there is a dire need to work towards it. There's a dire need to understand this and to teach our coming generation about the needs of environment conservation. So here this chapter comes to an end. I'll come back soon with a new topic. Till then, keep learning and keep rising.